That is a mighty large bin. Mighty large.
Hey, what did I just say? He never listens to me anyway. So why do I even waste my breath and try? Then he takes me in his arms while winking at the waitress, and I go the alarms. More trouble than he's worth. More trouble than he's worth. And irreconcilable differences that ain't that we can make it work. He's just more trouble than he's worth. He never wants to watch my shows. Says he'd rather drink a beer and go hang out with those losers he calls friends. Last week, when he asked me out on a date, forgot to mention I had to pay. Money ain't the only thing that he wants.
Come on! Oh, you're badly behaved, pussy. You're badly behaved. I mean, that's sizable, innit? That is sizable. So, guys and gals, we have an unusual, well, it's not actually unusual, to be fair, it's pretty bloody common, especially in Texas sheep, which I don't know if that's a gospel truth thing, but I have found in the Dutch spotted sheep and the Texas sheep, it is more prolific. I have 2 lambs with, is it entropion? Like interned eyelashes, that's what I know it as. And you can get little clips to clip on them and basically like keep them out. And it's basically what happens is this eyelid turns in on itself and irritates the eyeball, and they just end up walking around like this. And honestly, it's awful. It can make them blind. The other alternative is to do what the vets have suggested and inject penicillin into this bit here, and plump it out, and therefore the eyelashes will be plumped out, and then they'll learn to obviously grow. It'll just sway the way it's growing and give the eyeball a chance to recover. It will be something to keep an eye on. Now, I have just tried it I did it yesterday on one of them. Honest to God, I don't mind telling you, it is not a job that I, oh God, I've just squirted everywhere. It's not a job I like. It's not a job I find easy. It's not a job I want to do. In the past, I have taken them to the vets to do, but then last year I started doing it myself because the Dutch spotteds that we had, it must have been the top, gave a lot of them, and I had to sort it myself. So I head to the furrage, and I want pen strap. And I have gone for the absolute smallest needle possible, which is the yellow one in my box. I'll just place you on top of the milk machine. So they are the shortest and the smallest. Can you see how tiny they are compared to the normal pink ones that I'm using? If you can compare the two, you can't even see. There is a lot of difference in there. So I've got 2 tiny needles here. And I literally just want a little bit. There's no science to this, I don't think. Bless this lamb. There's the actual eyelid inside. So I need to get that actual eyelid to pop out instead of scratching its eyeball. Bless. Rufus is very interested in what I'm doing right now. I don't know whether he's... Oh, you're not? Oh, he's horrified, I think. Absolutely horrified. Right. Close your eyes. If you don't like it, I'm injecting under its eyelid here and making that go.
Money ain't the only thing that he won't spend. Then he starts working his old charms while texting with my best friend, and I'll go the alarms. More trouble than he's worth. More trouble than he's worth. And irreconcilable differences that ain't that we can make it work. He's just more trouble than he's worth.
Better. So can you see how I've plumped the bottom out? I know it looks horrendous, but you can actually see that all that was turned in. And look, it can actually open its eye now. So although that looks ridiculous and gross and disgusting, and yes, I know, it's just one of them things. Look at Roy looking horrified behind me. Do you want to do it? He doesn't want to do it. It's not a choice job that I enjoy, to be honest. It's just... yeah, it's pretty brutal, to be fair. So lamb can already open its eyes a little bit more, and I've just got some distilled water stuff to clean it off with sterile water, because I don't think just be careful. It's around the eyes, isn't it? Let's be fair. So here we have, can we see the lamb's actual, I know it looks terrible, but yeah, can you see the eyelashes? So all of that was turned in. So I've also given it an injection of pen strep, which actually, funnily enough, is the first injection that I've given anything this year. Because I definitely think we've been a little bit, we're still a bit naive to the feeder, to be fair. Put your tongue under. There, that's better. So we'll just make sure it gets enough milk. So all this random stuff, when you come into farming or into sheep, well, into farming, 15 years ago, but into sheep 4 years ago, you have to learn it all. You have to learn all this stuff. And I remember the first one, I've probably got a video of it, in the top shed when we were lambing, the first one that had that problem. And I remember going, oh my God, there's something wrong with it. I'm going to need to take it to the vet. And I took the lamb to the vet and wasted 45 quid or something on whatever. But you learnt from it. That was the point. I then knew how to identify it. I knew the treatment. And I also knew that they didn't rate the clips because they can just flick off and fall off and stuff. They did rate doing that. So although it might seem brutal, like the majority of you are actually farmers that watch this or have some kind of farming background. I know that. So it's like I'm preaching to the choir a little bit. I wouldn't necessarily put that on mainstream social media to go out to a broader audience. I wouldn't put it on Instagram, and I don't think I put it on TikTok. I think it's just a little bit too brutal. Now, if I was going for clicks and likes like some other people, I would definitely put that on. I would 100% put that on, because that would get some comments, wouldn't it? Oh my God, you're so brutal. Oh my God, that's awful. Oh my God, that's so gross. Oh, like, you can imagine how you do it. Like, so it's a bit of a balancing act between keeping things really respectful of farming and showing best practice, and not showing things that are just outwardly gross and doing it for a reaction. It's just a hard work thing to try and figure out which path you want to go down, because we could all go down the likes and the clicks and the shares route, and but really, is that what you want? Is that what you want? Because it's not what I want. Just had absolute panic on that wouldn't fit in there. Wow. That, like, we had to go and get the tape measure. We both went, oh no! Oh no! Spin it round and it will. There, like that. Keep going, spin it round. Lovely. It's from Drainwise, and I'll tell you, it was cheap. Just for anyone who's ever, it was cheap. Just come on, kids. Anyone would think you'd never been fed before, you lot. Come on. We made a massive mistake. You know when people said you shouldn't have put your cubicles in? And then Gary told us to put the cubicles in, so we did. We shouldn't have put the cubicles in. The bottom ones are having to be loosened off and moved over just for the drill to get in. Yeah, just are bad, to be fair, and it's just going to add a bit of time on. So that's our problem. We thought we were getting on. We weren't getting on. We were making work. But never mind. They're going down really well, though. Really, really well. So nearly everybody, well, to be fair, yeah, everyone with a lamb in here and one that hasn't got a lamb, they're all going out today. These look so good. So good. Even if we did make things 10 times harder work to make them look so good. They need to come out to allow the tank in. Not ideal, but I suppose better than altering legs on your tank, isn't it? I keep forgetting to show you that daily jobs still go on. Well, they're just boring and I don't want to show you them. Dinner. And I just thought I would show you. I'm going to tube that little lamb that I've just injected its eyes because I thought it just looked a little bit skinny. Anywho, aside from that, yesterday I was talking to Rebecca Wilson. If you haven't already looked at her YouTube, it is Becca Farms. And she's also on Instagram as I think Rebecca Wilson 72 something like that. Anyway, wonderful, glorious person. I absolutely rate her to the moon and back. She's just brilliant. And we were talking about pet lambs. And I was saying how many pet lambs I have is slightly embarrassing, but I'm going pet lambing. And she also has not quite as many as me, but an obscene amount of pet lambs, but they're feeding them with bottles. So I was telling her about this Lac-Tec feeder, and she said, do a video on it because I would be interested in it. So this is mostly for you, Becca. So I am hiring it for the season. It is £250 to hire this. So how does it work? Here we have the box, and in here seems to be, I'm just seeing what I've seen, seems to be a kettle. It is connected to a hose pipe to the mains, and it's always on. It's also connected to power, which is above on that extension cable. In the top here we have milk powder. One of those, it isn't one of those fancy expensive models that texts your phone when it's running low. You need to keep an eye on it. If you don't keep an eye on it, it just runs water and the lambs end up drinking water. I have made that very nearly made that mistake. I've run it low. So what happens is, I'll show you the front of it. I'll take it off so you can see. You can change the concentration of the milk over there on the left. You can also change the temperature on the back. So I'll take this off. And just to show you, there you go. This here determines the level of your water and when it needs to refill. That there, that's a whisk, a little thing with a plastic whisk on the bottom. This here is an auger that pushes your powder out, and that there in the corner is your hot water fill. So if I open one of those, because I am going to feed a lamb, you see the water level go down. Now it is to keep clean, and it gets quite dirty, a bit like your lamb bottles, you'll understand. There you go. So the auger pushes the powder in, the water goes in, and the whisk fills. And then it gets up to a certain level and it stops. There we go. And obviously it has all of these pipes that are available. I could have 2 extra teats on this, and it runs up here and to here. I need to go and get some more tie wraps because we started off with 2, and then in desperation, because I had that many lambs, I've put an extra 2 on, which is fine. But I've tied them with baling twine and it's not really working that well. So for cleanliness and as well as usability, I'm going to go and get some more little tie wraps, not big ones, little ones that will fit through the holes. Mount these on, he said, anything. Wood maybe isn't so good, because as the lambs get older, around the wood gets wet and a little bit gross, and obviously when summer comes, the lambs are still going to be on in warm weather and it gets flies and such like. So he says a piece of stock board would be better. Now we've mounted it to this, so there's actually nothing that the, you know, manky milk can stick to, because this is, as you maybe have or haven't seen, these are all bullpens. They drain forwards to where I'm stood. This here then goes all the way out and it goes into the slurry. An awful lot of liquid right now going that way. But if, for instance, one of them lambs were to pull them teats down to the bottom, bite the teat end off, and there was to be milk spilling everywhere, it would just go into this channel and go out. It wouldn't end up soaking into the bed because it drains completely away. Works through the lamb's sucking. It isn't pressurized in any way. So obviously when a lamb stops sucking, there, that level of stuff normally comes back to about here. So one of the pieces of advice he gave me was, when mounting the teats, don't mount them any lower than the water level, because if anything does happen to one of the ends, which when they get a little bit older, they will chew the ends off, because that's what lambs do, you end up with milk peeshing out all over and it just carries on running. Whereas if you are slightly above the water line like this, the milk just stays in the pipe and it doesn't end up. Have hot ad lib milk all the time, and I can tell you they are thriving. They honestly, I have never, don't mind telling you, had much success with pet lambs. They've never been my thing, but now they honestly, they look good. They look really good. So to begin with, it was murder on the dance floor. It very much was out here until 11 o'clock at night putting lambs on. But bear in mind, I did start off with a fair few to put on all at once. So I numbered them and I pushed every single one on. Anything that I thought wasn't getting enough or wasn't getting the hang of it quite quickly enough, I did tube them. I didn't go around with bottles, and I tubed them by letting milk out of that, like you've just seen. And that was really handy. So it literally mixed the milk for me. I didn't need to keep running in the house and doing it for myself, which was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, everything, the underneath of it doesn't seem to be dirty. You know, like calf feeders get really slimy and horrible. But come a little bit further down the line when they're bigger, I could probably predict that it might not be the case, hence why this is quite a good fall away system. But there's a lot of lambs in here for a small space, so I think we're going to have to revise this, and I'm not quite sure what we're going to do. This is where I've hired it from. This is the brand of the feeder with milk powder everywhere, because I'm putting it in with a scoop, and it just is an couple of old hay racks that I've used, to be honest. Some advice if you were looking for it. The little brown teats, the softer ones, I thought it might be easier to put the lambs... Oh, so naughty. There's a lamb trying to eat my phone. I thought it might be easier to put lambs on with softer teats. It's not. It's harder. They're no good. Use the white ones, just for your information. We'll learn from my mistakes. The brown ones don't seem to get the sucking action quite as well. And with the white ones, when you're putting lambs on, you can squeeze them and the milk comes. With the brown ones, it doesn't. I don't know whether it just doesn't have the suction that the white ones do, but yeah, it doesn't work quite as well, and they're softer, and obviously as they get older, they're going to bite the ends off them, because that's what lambs do. So yeah, go for white ones from Cars. That's what I've used. It has to be, I think the milk, did he say it had to be free flow milk? We use, absolutely brilliant. Anyway, we've always used that milk. That works really well in it. But yeah, would 100% recommend. Product, what am I using video. Anti-Innovations trusty tubey lammy feeder, can't remember what it's called. Would rate though, not for tiny lambs. For tiny lambs I use the old-fashioned, the syringe with the pipe attached that you get from the vet, only because the end of this is a little bit bigger So yeah, that's just my pearls of wisdom for what I've learnt from Lamborghiniing over the last 4 years. I got told off the other day by someone, apparently, for holding him with the back legs. To be perfectly honest, I've always just grabbed a hold of anything I can. It's not been a thought process. It was just whatever you can catch a lamb by, catch it by.
Then he takes me in his arms, and there's lipstick on his collar, and I pull the alarms. More trouble than he's worth. More trouble than he's worth. Irreconcilable differences that ain't that we can make it work. He's just more trouble than he's worth.
Hay fever started because all the blossom's coming out. Oh no. I'm so pathetic. So, record keeping. Let me show you what I do. So these sheep are about to leave the trailer. 74 and 27, okay? They've both got single lambs, they are cleans. I know that. Just mind that Lamborghini. So I'm gonna open the back door, hope that lamb doesn't get its leg trapped. Thank you, Mum. I'm just going to grab hold of this because this door's a leg trapper. I know it might look brutal to those of you who are totally offended by me grabbing hold of a lamb's back leg. I just look at that. Perfect leg trapper. Come here, Jenny. Oh. What a mess. Into my phone like so. This is my list and I just write on it. I do it when they're turned out. I find if I do it in the shed I do it wrong and I forget and something will happen, I'll get distracted. So every single sheep that's had a ride out, I do it when we turn them out, and I just tend to think that that just works best for me. Put a 2 backwards. Well, now you have. Wow, I am a liability. I was holding that upside down back to front or what, but there you go. That is the level of my intellect. That's Sayeta's favourite sheep in the world. This is Sayeta's daughter. Look at her freaky, scary eyes. Freaky. Has some belting lambs, she really does. Okay, so I'll quickly just show you my list. Before I let you go, I relinquish you from watching my dire videos. This is my list. Hold on. So on here we have every number that we've had. We go right up to 90. I actually got that one wrong. That's little Knuckles there. But yeah, you can see I have basically wrote notes on them, like I let them go by accident without doing their balls. So must catch both of those. They're in different fields, but we must catch both of those and do them before long. I've wrote what breed they are, what they've come off, how many lambs they've had, and what numbers on the side of them, just so I know. So now I know how many lambs exactly are running around the fields. I know how many mums exactly are running around the fields, and I'll just use this for basic record keeping, really, to be honest. I find I just printed that off if anyone was actually wondering. All it was an Excel spreadsheet with borders around it. That is it. Nothing too fancy. And then obviously we go on to yeah, she was feeling optimistic, so we go on to 2 extra pages, even though we need 2 extra pages. But yeah, hope that helps anybody who is wondering how we do it. I've also done it wrong, so this is the reason why I'm doing it like this. There was one year when I actually, do you know what, to be honest, didn't have a clue how many lambs were running round until we gathered them all up and counted them. I just didn't. I was so stressed out with trying to lamb the sheep and making it hard work for myself that I let them go, and yeah, it was just hard work. Yeah, so this is why I'm being a little bit more strict with record keeping, just because I have done it wrong in the past and I made it very hard work for myself. So I hope you enjoyed that video. It was a little bit different. We had a little bit of everything in there, I know. thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Love you long time, and I'll see you next time.